Hi everyone, happy Friday. Today in Odd Animal ABCs, we are on to letter O, which as you can see stands not for owl, but for one of my favorite animals, Okapi. Okapis are these really beautiful, unusual animals that are native to the Democratic Republic of Congo. They are reminiscent of both a giraffe and a zebra. As you can see, they have striped front and hind legs, very much like a zebra, but their faces and their ears in particular look much more like a giraffe, and they're actually the only known living relative of a giraffe. So along with their stripes and their big ears, they also have a really long tongue, again similar to a giraffe, for the same purpose, to strip leaves off of trees and bushes to eat. So grab your blank piece of paper and we'll get started. Today, like yesterday, I want you to turn your paper long ways. So long ways facing you to begin. Grab your marker or pen, and we're gonna start halfway up the page over to the left side here, because you have a pretty long body. We want enough space to do his body as well as his striped legs. So starting with a simple dot, make that mark on your page. From there, I'm gonna draw my half circle facing this direction, because he's looking off to the left. And then to the start of his face, I'm gonna start right above his eye here. I'm just gonna draw a curve, about a half circle, crescent shape there. And then over on the other side, I'm gonna draw a straight line diagonally down towards the left and curve that under to complete his face. So here's my straight line, curve it to a slight point, and then draw it back to meet the circle, half circle you already drew. I always like to give my animals an expression, so I'm gonna add on another little curve right on the bottom here to give him a smile, right up underneath the eye. And we'll do 2 marks for nostrils. Now, similar to a giraffe, they have little horns on top, so I'm just gonna draw an upside down U, 2 of those right on top of his head. We can connect those. And then for his ears, I'm gonna do that teardrop shape. So starting right above his eye here, I'm gonna draw that up to a point and back down. Again, they're pretty sizable for the animal. And then I'm gonna do that same shape inside of it, right? Because we wanna see inside that front ear. And the other one, same shape, but we just see the back of it, so we won't draw the extra shape inside of it. Next, their necks are not quite as long as a giraffe, of course, but they're pretty long. So I'm gonna do 2 diagonal lines coming out from his face here. So one right near his mouth, we'll take that down maybe an inch, inch and a half or so. And then the other one will start right underneath his ear here. And I'm gonna make them a little bit wider as it comes to connect with what is gonna be his body. So their bodies, they start up by their neck and then they slope down to their back legs here. So I'm gonna start right at the edge of the neck here, and then just take a gradual curve and tuck that under. And this is gonna become his tail. From here, we'll move on to his front legs. So I'm gonna start with one curve right here, about just underneath his neck. So there's a portion of his front leg. We'll connect it towards the bottom here with one more curve. And then I'm gonna take my 2 parallel lines out in this direction and then back down. And these guys, like a giraffe or a zebra, they do have a hoof. So I'm gonna connect those 2, and then I'm just gonna draw a line down and across and then back up. There's my 1 hoof. We'll do the same for the other front leg, but again, it's slightly hidden behind this one that we just drew. So I'm just gonna mirror this line, but just take it out a little bit further. So there's 1 and 2, and then we'll do the same thing for his hoof, cross that over, line down, and then we only need 1 across the bottom. Next, for his back legs, I'm gonna do a curve facing in the opposite direction here. For his hip, we'll take a line down, 1 to match that, and then in the other direction. And I wanna see if I can bring those about the same distance away from the bottom of my page here, so it looks like he's standing on level ground. And then I'll add the hoof on here. So I'm gonna cross that off on the bottom, line down, across, and back up. And then we're gonna do his belly real quick before I do his other leg, just so I know where I'm going. So starting by his front leg that we just drew, I'm just gonna do a big curve to meet the back leg, the back hip right here. There we go. And then his other leg, I'm gonna take a line down in the opposite direction. Meet it about where I landed with the other one. Cross it over and add that last hoof. Now for his tail, I'm gonna take this curve just to finish his backside here. And then I'm gonna draw a line just to meet at the bottom of the line that I already drew for his tail. It can come to a slight point. And then they do have a tuft on their tail. So I'm gonna start with that teardrop shape and then just add a few lines to fill that in. So you might have noticed on my original drawing, I added a little bit more detail on his face. Like giraffes, they have these really long eyelashes. So for fun, I just drew 2 curved lines coming up from the bottom of his eye or her eye there. And then the markings on their legs are kind of like a black stocking on the lower half right here. So if you want to do that on both, I left a little bit of space in between so their legs don't blend together. Then I'll do the same on the back here. And then the most fun part, of course, those zebra-like stripes. So these you can be a little creative with. They can be different thicknesses. There I drew 2 and colored it in. Maybe you just take 1. You can make them a little wavy. They don't have to be perfect because just like a giraffe or a zebra, none have identical stripes. And then we can do the back leg. You can alternate how close they are together or farther apart, and then however you want to do it on the front. And there you are. There's today's Okapi. Come back tomorrow. We'll be on to letter B.